This week, I have a massive crash in Daily Race A. Daily Race B, we have a villain returning to Gran Turismo. And in Daily Race C, well, I chance the ghosting system as I go through someone. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Gran Turismo Weekly Race Guide here in 2024, week 38. And for quite a few of you, you're going to be saying, Tidge, haven't we done this before? Arguably, yes, we have. And not even arguably, yes, we have. Week 20 this year, we did do these races. However, we do have a physics change, so potentially some things are slightly different. And I'd argue, it's actually a good week, to be honest. First up then, we are at Watkins Glen short circuit, doing 6 laps. There are no DR updates on. It's a grid start with a false start check, sports hard tyres, and win the Nissan Skyline GTR, yes. This is a weighty car. It does like to move all over the place under braking, so you're going to have to be very careful and cautious on those brakes. Now, if you don't want to do this race, then there are some timestamps there for you to jump to Daily Race B or Daily Race C, which in turn are their own unique races, and especially B, which has something a little bit special for you. What we will do, though, is focus on Daily Race A right now and bring you the key statistics. This track has been used 9 times, and this track car combo has been used once, which is unusual for a road car, but it's up there. That puts it around 75th on the old used combo rank. It was last used on the 19th of August, this track as well, so it's quite used quite often. Chicane track limits are a bit weird on this one, and the car weight transfer is an issue in this daily race, but that's all we need to know in terms of the key stats. What we will do now is jump into this race. Let's have a look at exactly what happens, because I had to do it a second time as I forgot to record it. Here we are then at the start with a very unique grid, because normally a lot of the people who like racing me are not in this one. I had to do it a second time. Now, because it's a false start check, hold the handbrake. I put traction control on 1, and now you have to try and judge when those lights are going to go out, which I get wrong, as you can see there with the false start. So I head over towards left-hand side, even though no one's behind me, but then we kick off there. So it wasn't the end of the world with that false start. But even so, I'm going to the back of the pack. It does set me up, though, for turn 1, because I'm out the way of the chaos as we go into here then. And up ahead, well, it's not too shabby, to be honest with you. We got the inside of one car there. We do go up into P11. But everyone else makes it round safe and sound, so that's not too shabby if I do say so myself. But as we head up here then, this is where it can all kick off. And up ahead, the Les and Jeff just get a bit of a clash there, and we gain 2 more positions. Now, Les is going to have an issue in terms of momentum. So we go down the inside here into 5th gear as we head towards the chicane. Now, this is the dangerous part here. This under braking is very sketchy. Nico brakes very early there, and they did scare me a little bit, but we do make it past Les. We do fit in behind Nico, and we are in this a long train of cars, which is in the fight for the lead, which is always good. If you're in the fight for the lead, it's a good race. So, through the right we go then. I'm in 3rd gear, which I really shouldn't be in 3rd gear. I realised that at the last second as we head to the penultimate corner and then the last corner, and we head on to the start of lap number 2 then. So, Nico on the left-hand side. I was thinking about sending it here, but I back out of it. It's very hard to send it in towards turn 1. As we go into here, though, we've got a car on the outside there. We're on the inside of Nico as well. So, we get 2 for 1. Happy days. They are the kind of offers I go for when I do my food shop as well. Right, we're behind Cobra then in this very bronzy, goldy, sort of lucky Skyline GTR. Interesting one. We do have Paul Walker's Skyline in here. I don't know if you spotted it so far. It was out wide just before. And we do have a run on Cobra here then. So I'm going to go and have a look down the inside. Now, you can't send it in towards the chicane here. It's very hard to do. So at this moment in time, we are level. Unfortunately, the drive up ahead brakes early. That forces Cobra into the back of them, which forces me around. You can see my face. I'm just smiling because it was all just a bit weird, to be honest with you. So one brakes early. You're racing side by side. Always going to have a crash in that situation. That was a bit of a terrible rejoin by myself, if I do say. I really should have been a bit more cautious, but fortunately the ghosting system saved me and the Spaniard up ahead. So lap number 3, we do catch up to them then. The damage has gone, thankfully, with that lower damage model where it just disappears after, like, I don't know, 20 seconds or something. So we're up into P9 now. We've got Sumo Turi up ahead. Next up on my list to overtake, they've got an actual number plate on that car as well. Maybe it's their dream car and they've actually done a livery based on that. I'm not too sure. We go through the chicane. I was not expecting a break there. It did scare me a little bit, to be honest, but they're trying to do the track as best as they can, so I can understand people are going to break in different places. This is a much more varied grid. We've got DRB to DRA plus in here, so varied driving skills there. But we managed to stay on the inside of Sumo, and we do gain that advantage. Sumo, they're having to change gear, which you can see the disadvantage there of over-revving this car. We catch up to Les again. We see Les a lot in this race. So we do short shift at the end or start of the curve there, sort of the end of the turn. I will explain that more in the track guide coming up. And you can see the run we've got here in Slipstream as well. So let's go defensive. I wouldn't have gone for that here, to be honest with you, but going defensive is worthwhile. Unfortunately, because you're taking a tighter line, the weight transfer is huge. And Les, unfortunately, does go off there and still spinning behind me. Heading on to lap number 6 then, we've got Nico in the distance. Again, this is deja vu from lap 1, isn't it, really? With Nico up ahead. Just brake a bit later, so has got used to that chicane now. And as we go through here, that's one of the smoothest chicanes I've done. And I was looking at the inside of Nico here, trying to get it done. But Nico defends that very nicely as we go through this right-hander. So as you see, I should be in 4th gear, unlike lap 1. We continue on out then, and we've got a little bit of a run here. And we're going to see Nico change gears. Where is it? Oh no, Nico's not going to change gears. Apologies, that was a different race. So as you can see, Nico just pushed me onto the outside. And yeah, I was a bit frustrated with that one. I did ask Nico afterwards about it. So I put a question mark. I always put a question mark to ask why they did something. They were confused what I was on about. So I said they just ran me off, which you can see there. We'll come more in the bloopers, of course. But that is the end of this daily race. So you can see it's a bit sketchy, if I'm honest with you. I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. So start type's good. Car Tyre Choice 0.5 just because of the weighty issues. There is a penalty issue at the chicane, in my opinion. It's, you know, if you cut a little bit of the inside too much, it does kick off. And there are some good racing in there as well. So it's a 3 out of 5 there. So in terms of lap 1 then, on the left-hand side, we have a 300 board. That is your brake marker for turn 1. Now, I want you to stay in 4th gear. Remember, this is a very weight transfery, weight shifty, doesn't like weight moving car, okay? So changing gear will transfer weight. So stay in 4th gear, hard on the brakes, start to release it as you head towards the corner, and just be careful of that oversteer. Release nice and slowly. On the exit, remember, you have to stay on that red and yellow, or red and orange curbing, depending on how it looks on your screen. And you can see there, I'm very much on it on the right-hand side with my right 2 tyres. So I'm not going to get a track limit penalty. You have to be careful in this car, though, because the car is thinner than you realise. So where you would normally be fine in wider GT3 cars, you're not necessarily going to be as safe in this car because it's a narrower car. So I changed gear there to start the curb on the right-hander there. There's a really good gear change marker, if I'm honest, for this straight, because if you rev it anymore, you're just going to have that gear delay that I wanted to show you, and that will cause you to actually go slower down the straight. As we approach the chicane then, the 400 board, you're braking just before it, in fact, and actually, you will brake even earlier, if you are struggling with the brakes and the weight transfer. So what I recommend here is braking just before the 400. You are going to drop a gear, but not necessarily instantly. So I'm staying in 5th, then I drop when I've sort of settled the car. Be careful of that track cut there on the inside of that chicane. Everything else is fine staying on the curb. As we go into here then, I'm just letting the car do its thing here. I dab the brakes a tiny bit there. And what I'm looking for is the Marshall box on the right-hand side. That is the key accelerating marker. I say this every single time at Watkins Glen. Use that. Use it as a judge. So as you get closer to it, the more you should be accelerating. If you just see it, you should be accelerating maybe just yet. But as you get closer and closer and closer, build up your confidence, start accelerating. Notice I've stayed in 4th gear as well. It keeps the car balanced. I don't have the gear shift delay, and therefore I can continue on, and I should have an advantage over competitors. I'm going to stay in 4th gear here as well. So what I'm looking for here is the 300 board, particularly the one on the left. The one on the left as it hits the edge of your screen is the perfect marker, okay? And again, you're staying in 4th gear for this corner. It's very much staying in 4th gear nearly everywhere here in this car. It does pull very nicely. As you get to that point, you're going to hit the brakes and turn in. Now, you may notice you will get oversteer. I get a little bit here as well. Try and maintain 90 miles an hour through that corner. Remember, you can use all the curbing on the outside. You need to get over towards the left very quickly, though. And where the tyres go into Armco, that is your final brake marker for this right-hander. So you want to brake as you get to that moment. Again, stay in 4th gear. 4th gear, very helpful in this car. It means you can focus on driving the car rather than having to focus on gears as well for those that are really struggling with the manual gears. As you go through here, clip the curb. Try and stay around 80 miles an hour and then accelerate through and head towards the line. Be careful of track limits on the exit there as well. Remember, it's a narrower car, so you can actually go over the white line there after the curb ends and struggle. That's a 120.6. I do expect to see 119s there eventually. I'm going to jump to Daily Race B, where we're at Brands Hatch Indy. Yes, we're going to go back to the touring car-esque race that we saw earlier on in the year. So this is 10 laps. It's a rolling start. Racing hard tyres, and critically, there's an asterisk there. You have to pit on this race. Unusual for race B, but it's nice to see as well. There is tuning. You saw that at the bottom, so I know some people do not like tuning. I'm not a particular fan of it, but it is here this week. So that's Brands Hatch Indy's key statistics, well, this daily races, should I say. It's been used 4 times. Track and car combo has been used twice. It was last used 13th of May, which is actually when that weekly race guide happened. Got to be careful at Paddock Hill Bend. The bump there going into it. It forces a lot of oversteer in a lot of cars. And you are going to have to be careful of that pit entry as well, because you do have to pit in Daily Race B. Now, I've chosen the Honda NSX for this one then in terms of the race. The time trial lap is going to be different, and I'm actually going to use a previous one. Let's jump into it now. Let's have a look exactly what happens. Here we are then at the start, and unfortunately for me, look who's at the top. They're back. Oh no. We'll see what happens in this race, shall we? If you're enjoying this video, as always, do give it a like and do subscribe to the channel. Stay in touch with all the latest content. We're very close to 90,000 subscribers now, and then it's the journey to that 100k. I appreciate all the support, and a big thank you to everyone who is supporting the channel. Honestly, it's unbelievable. Right, into this race then. So Gran Turismo Indy, very small circuit. Gives me TOCA vibes for those that haven't played TOCA. It's an old touring car game on PlayStation 1. And it was absolutely brilliant, this race in touring cars. Now, it is a general, similar feel to that because these Group 4 cars are very much like road cars. That's how they're designed. Let's go into this left-hander then. PGM on the left-hand side there. And I had to take sort of half avoiding action there because they were on the inside. It's my own fault. I went for the move. But unfortunately, what I'm going to get there is a 0.5-second penalty. And you can see me nod there. And that was absolutely fine. Now, I didn't realise initially we had to pit. I saw Max Power go in the pit and was like, what's going on there then? A bit weird. Now, up ahead, the Spanish driver is on the inside and forces the NSX car off the circuit. No idea what's going on there. We'll try and have a look at that one in the bloopers, whether there was contact or not. But even so, into the right-hander we go. We've gained 2 more places here, but we do have that 0.5-second penalty. We're going to take that penalty right now. Evo's going to take a massive chance here and go through my ghost, which is, I mean, yeah, risky, but beneficial to them as they actually made it through there. As we go to this right-hander, somebody's just left, I feel, as we continue on through here then. And we're catching up back up to the pack here. We've got Schlungi, we've got Nico, and the Spanish driver on my left. So what I'm going to do actually is head in towards the pit. And I thought there that I'd cut the white line. I'll be honest with you, I was extremely concerned. Extremely concerned. I'm not going to change tyres. You don't have to either. It's a case of just coming in the pits and going, you can see my face there? Have I got a pit lane infringement? No, I don't. I was lucky there. That was very much on the line, that is for sure. You see, Max Power has benefited from doing the undercut there. Yes, they were ahead, but they're even more ahead now. We've got Schlungi here then on the, well, sort of in the middle of the road here. They didn't go all the way across, so I was like, okay, there's an NSX size gap. I'll take it. I make it. I'm through up into P12. There we go. And we are looking to try and get the undercut on a lot of people here. That's the plan, at least, as we go into this right-hander next time. And look at the oversteer we're getting there. So that's the bump I was talking about in terms of the potential issues at this circuit. And I suffered it in the Genesis as well when I tried out that car. So a lot of cars are suffering with this bump into Paddock Hill. Up ahead, we've got Shelty just making a move on Dutchy TT7. Max Power's on the inside of Dutchy as well. I would assume they're from Dutch. Sorry, the Netherlands. Not from Dutchland. Where's that? Right, anyway, we continue on in towards Graham Hill. So they managed to defend that in the Genesis. And I do love the livery Max Power's got on that Genesis, actually. Obviously, Genesis is the posher brand of Hyundai, I think. I don't fully know the actual brand integrations everywhere here. We're going in towards this right-hander. Unfortunately, Dutch is going to get it wrong. Just outbrake themselves a little bit. Very common mistake to happen here at that corner. It really is. You just go a bit too much, and then you unsteer off, and the corner really doesn't help you with the way it's sort of angled. As we continue towards lap number 9 then. In the distance, we have somebody coming out of the pits. It's Skelly then. In towards the right we go. So Max Power left the gap there. Was going for the cutback, so I tried to back out of it. Unfortunately, I hit Max Power. That's completely on me here. So I just back out of it. I'm going to wait for Max Power. Now, Max Power will also have dirt on their tyres. So what I have to do here is just allow them to get that dirt off, and then I can have a race. So I wait an entire lap here, bump drafting them where I can, get them going again. And here we go for the final lap. For those who didn't notice, Kimmy quit. Kimmy forgot to pit, which is absolutely hilarious as we continue on through here then. And now we're going to have the race with Max Power on this final lap. The Genesis is not as strong as it used to be here, which is probably due to the physics change, maybe. We'll have to see how it goes on throughout the week. But as we leave that corner then, Max Power then defends on the inside here. And I'm going to try something very sketchy, very risky. But we succeed with it round the outside. Graham Hill, don't do that too often. And we're up into P8. We head towards the line. We jump up to P7 because somebody else forgot to pit. Now, I've given this a 4 out of 5 because I think everything is great here. Good racing is 0.5, but I think there's good strategy there, which is why it's 0.5. The start type's a rolling start, so it's a 0.5. Now, we're in the Renault Megane Trophy here. This is from pre-patch, but the brake markers are exactly the same, so we're going to continue using these. So we've got the 2 and the marshal box there. They are your brake markers. You can brake in the middle of them, at the 2, or you can try and brake as late as the marshal box, but you're probably going to go a bit deep if you do that, so just keep that in mind. As you go through here, just be careful of that bump, clip the curb on the inside, and then accelerate through. Really be aggressive on that acceleration. What we're going to do now is head towards Druids. So on the left-hand side, a red painted barrier is your brake marker. You can try and use the Palmer Sport sign as it hits the top of your screen, but again, it's last the late brakes if you go for that, and there's a potential of you going deep, so you are going to have to be really careful there. As we go into here, though, then you're going to drop a gear and we turn around the corner. Now, as you exit, you want to be in a higher gear in a lot of cars, mainly because of wheel spin. I really did see that in the Genesis and not so much in the NSX, but it did slide a little bit, so just be careful. Graham Hill on the right side, we've got the 1 and the green on the right side. That is my main marker. You can try and aim for the curb there, but again, that's been really last the late breakers. I found an earlier turn in, especially with the new physics, was actually better here, so I highly advise you do that as well. Clip the curb on the inside, use all of the exit, just be careful about going too far over and being all 4 wheels on the grass. As we head towards this left-hander, you've got the 1 and the green on the right side on the barrier. You want to potentially lift a tiny bit in a lot of cars. In the Genesis, I had to lift. In the NSX, it was the tiniest of lifts, but I still had to lift. Now, in the Renault Megane Trophy, which I believe is top at the moment, potentially we will see that right now. Yes, it's a lift again in this car. You just have to be careful. Now, you want to straight line your braking, and when you do go on the brakes, notice the brown curbing on the inside of the red and white curbing. That is your marker. So when you get to that point, you hit the brakes and you brake in a straight line all the way to the outside of the corner. It does open in the race, people's going you inside, so you are going to have to be careful of that. But I like to go towards the outside and then bring it back, even more than I do in this particular run, okay? Because otherwise it's too tight. You saw a bit of oversteer in this Megane Trophy, that causes issues. But even so, we're going to head towards the line. This will be a 47.3, I think it was, from memory. Yes, there it is. But that is it for Daily Race B. We jump to Daily Race C then, where I'm in the BMW M6 Endurance Model GT3 car. I've just gone through someone as well, risking a bit of ghosting. But we are Deep Forest Raceway in reverse, which, again, we have done before. 14 laps, rolling start, racing medium and hard tyre. Both tyres are required. Times 2 fuel, times 7 tyre wear, and tuning is on for this one as well, which is a bit frustrating, to be honest with you. However, I do like this race. I'm going to put that out there right now. I liked it last time. I said it was one of the best races we've had. So let's see what it's like with the new physics. We've used it 5 times, track and car combo. We've used it 3 times. This is the 4th time of asking. We last used it on the 13th of May. Now, you do have to be careful of turn 1 braking zone. Very easy to get it wrong there. And the combo feels even more slippy than last time. The rear does feel like it's going a lot more this time. So you're going to have to be careful every time you go on the power, especially on the harder tyres of the car, getting some power oversteer, getting some wheel spin, and you having to control it. Let's jump into this one then. Let's have a look. Who crashes and who wins? Here we are then at the start of the race. Got a Nissan in pole. I did think about the Nissan actually, because I remember the Nissan being very strong last time. There's a lot of Porsches in here, and due to that race stability of other cars, I can see that. Now, if you're enjoying this video, as always, do give it a like and do subscribe to the channel. You saw the graphic right there, and you've got a little bit of time to get there now. In the distance, Blue Racer in the old NSX, the GT500 car, being overtaken there by Max Power in the Porsche 911 as we head up to the very dangerous turn 1. Expect plenty of crashes into turn 1 here this week. Max Power goes towards the outside, takes avoiding action, goes for a bit of a spin. We'll take that position from you. Thank you very much. And we are up a position, but fairly clean for the first race of the week. This is the very first race of the week. There have been no others as we do the first time slot, always for Daily Race C. Unfortunately, Blue Racer there goes into the barrier. It was quite a comedic crash into the barrier, that one, wasn't it? I'm not sure exactly what happened. In the distance, Bahamas there, struggling to get on circuit. I risked it with a ghost in, and fortunately for me, it succeeded as we continue into the left-hander then. And we're catching up to a fellow BMW driver. Look at that, another M6 GT3 car. Not sure whether it's the Sprint or the Endurance model as we continue down here. I can't actually tell or know what the difference is in terms of looks. Obviously, we have done tests in terms of the car profiles, which will return in the future. I know people have asked about that. They will return at some point. Now, Shelty and the other BMW have gone deep there, but it can actually be a good line to come back on because you get that run, the slingshot off the corner. And as you see there, they maintain positions and arguably maintain that gap as well. As we head down towards the bridge, though, in the distance, they do hit each other going into this right-hander. I did feel like the BMW waited up for Shelty there. So that's good sportsmanship as we go into this right-hander, and we are being caught very quickly by Max Power. Now, I was anticipating here that Max Power must be on the softer compounder tyre. Really must be to catch us up that quickly. To already be on the outside, I'm there having to try and catch the car first of all and keep it tight because Max Power's on the outside. A beautiful move there, and I was like, okay, Max Power must be on the softer compounder tyre, but we'll see later on what compounder tyre they were on. I've said tyre way too many times, and we'll see how this race unfolds, because this race is all about strategy as well as the racing. You can have some good racing, I've just shown you that, but it's all about strategy. Which tyre you start on, which I've started on the harder compound, which you normally do. I've done a video where you can start on different tyres before now. Now, the BMW just hit into Shelty there while Max Power and Shelty were having a racing, racing action. They get a 4-second penalty for that, which arguably is fine because Shelty did fall back there, and you can see they're going to that penalty. So I wait behind them at this point. There's no point attacking them too hard here. They're going to take the penalty, and you're going to get the position anyway. So why waste a second trying to overtake them, lose half a second behind them, and then get the advantage on the straight. Really good sportsmanship of them to go towards that right-hand side. Shout out to you, TPM, and we are now in a bit of fresh air. Now, we're going to head towards the end of lap number 4. You see some fighting in the distance, and I was undecided here. I didn't know whether to pit or not on lap 4 and just, you know, trying to undercut everybody, or whether I should stay out and just use the slipstream. I decided to come in the pits here, and what I'm going to do is actually change to the medium tyre. So we're going to see if it works this early on in the race, you know, changing the tyre and going out and seeing if we can undercut absolutely everybody. We're 8 seconds off the lead. We'll keep that in mind as well as we come out the pits. Bahamas is also copying behind as we continue on out. It looks like we are free. Nice clear air, which is good. This is good strategy then as we leave the pits. Let me talk about the braking zone in towards this one out the pits. It's the same as your normal one, so I used 100 board there. I'm just going to be very cautious. Remember, cold tyres, just going onto the tyres. I need to get used to them, and we continue on out of there with a short shift as well. Lap number 6 then, here we go. So here are the next pit stoppers. They're coming out the pits now. So we've passed Shelty already. The undercut definitely worked versus Shelty. Nando Florist up ahead there. It reminded me of Lando Norris Florist. But they've just come out the pits. We send it down the inside there, and, well, we get the job done. We made the apex. That's a fair dive in my opinion. But I was thinking about the slipstream here of that Lamborghini behind there. Very close to my exhaust. I'm not going to get a big slingshot off this one. They're going to have to go out very early, which is fortunate for me because I can keep on the inside here. And that's my plan all along. Now, you have to be careful in the tunnels when side by side because they do veer in and out, and you do have to move accordingly. We also saw what happened at F1 with Sainz and Perez, didn't we? You just have to be cautious of that road moving slightly. Right, we do maintain position. We've got a yellow flag ahead. What's happened here then as we continue on? We've got a slow-moving car then, the Indian driver there. And I see somebody from India playing, actually, Phantom Shadow. But unfortunately, they've had an issue there in the Genesis. They're heading towards the pits right now. That's the end of the same lap, lap number 6. We fast forward a little bit here, and we've got more cars coming out the pits. That's Mario Sonic, so we're going to jump them when all's said and done. So we're up into P10 now. Remember, there's still a lot of pit stoppers to happen ahead here as we go into the right-hander. We slow it down, short shift, and then we're going to boot it out of here. Nando has ended up behind Mario Sonic, so how critical that move was before on Nando was there. It's obvious. It's very clear, isn't it? So a bit further on, Max Power's coming out of the pits on medium tyres, and that's what surprised me. Max Power stayed out on the hard tyres for much longer. We've got a yellow flag in the distance as well here. What's happening as we go into here? Oh, we got somebody on the... Oh, that scared me a lot there. Did have to adjust my line slightly. But Max Power stayed out in the hard tyres for a longer period of time, but still maintained decent pace and position there. And it's what I love about this race. It's all about strategy. When do you switch? Traffic. You got to monitor it. You race who you want to race, defend who you want to defend against, manage your tyres correctly, and choose when to pit. It's all combined. It makes this race so good. I'm happy that this is a repeat race because it's a brilliant race. Into towards turn 1 we go. We're still ahead of Max Power. Max Power going for the really wide line to come back off that corner, and you can see the advantage of that. Look at that run Max Power has. Now, I'm going to confess here, I really should have just let off at this moment in time. Knowing Max Power, and I did see it was on the medium tyres, I should have just lifted at this moment in time and let Max Power go and use that so we could gain on the leaders. We're 19 seconds behind the leaders right now. I didn't. I still fought it here, and then it was only here I was like, actually, what am I doing? Your weapon. And there we go. So Max Power is through, but it cost me half a second there, potentially, and it cost Max Power a little bit of time there as well. We go to lap 11, where some of the leaders have just come out of the pits in the distance. Now, that half second wouldn't have mattered as much, would it? Because they would have still come out probably side by side, potentially. But even so, it did cost us a little bit of time there. You can see the leaders then, Sim, GT7, and Brown Banana in the distance. And, well, let's go to the lap later. Max Power's got ahead of Sim GT7 with the fresher medium tyres. These two, of course, the Brown Banana and Sim GT7, are on the harder compound. I'm on used mediums. We've got technically 3 different strategies all coming together here towards the end of the race. This is why this race is so good. I look to send it down the inside then, and we really do slow up on the apex. Brilliant side-by-side racing. However, they do get a better exit there, so I sort of pull out of it there. I don't want to lose too much time to the drivers ahead. I really want to fight for the victory here. On to lap 13 then, and again, I want to stay with the drivers up ahead. We've got another pitter, Motor Insider, who's looking to come out the pits as well, so we're getting another strategy jumping into this element. Really, really, really do love this race for this. There's so much in there and so much happening. But Sim GT7 gets it all wrong into the hairpin. Hits Max Power there. They go for a spin. We're now up into P2. Well, let's see if we can chase down the leader. That is the question. But we head towards the line. We haven't really done those medium tyres really getting to the end of their life there. But P2. And all I can say for this race is an unbelievably fantastic race. The only points it loses out on is race length. It could do with being probably a lap longer, I would say, maybe. And the start type, because somebody starts just on the corner there. That's the only reason it drops. But it is an 8 out of 10. It's an unbelievable race, this one. It really is. Really happy to see it again. And I'm looking forward to doing many races here this week. Right, we're on board the track guide then. So as you go up the hill here, on the right-hand side, you've got that orange painted barrier. That's your turn-in marker and potentially dropping a gear at the same time or lifting as well. Depends on what car you're in. In the Supra, I lifted. In this car, I really should drop a gear. I can't remember if I do it on this particular lap. In the race, I definitely drop a gear. There we go. I drop it. Over towards the left-hand side. You want to be as far left as possible for this corner. The further right you are, the more it's going to go wrong. Let's put it that way. So the 100 board is your brake marker. You're going to go hard on the brakes now. Remember, you can go a bit deep here. You can do the slingshot maneuver that I did talk about in the race. Or you can try and keep it nice and tight and just get a clean exit. So as we come into here, first gear, we turn in. Second gear then on the apex and out we go. And I got a bit of a slide on there, which is a bit weird. And arguably, it did cost me some time here. I've lost about 2 tenths there. As we come down here then, we're looking for the start of the curb there. This is your brake marker at the end of the tunnel. If you're in a much faster car like the Toyota Supra, you have to brake a bit earlier. In the BMW, it's a perfect brake marker at the start of the curb. Now, some of you are going to be saying, Tidge, have you got a setup on? No, this is a default setup. Default BMW can easily get a low 25 here, so just keep that in mind. I say easily, actually. It's actually quite hard to get a low 25 in the BMW because it likes to wiggle its rear end. As you turn in here, it's a slight lift there. Nothing major. Slight lift. More of a lift in some other cars that struggle with understeer. And as we go through the tunnel, I had to lift a little bit there as I got the line slightly wrong. But your braking marker is the start of the tunnel. So the green into concrete or the blue sign there. And you're going to brake in a straight line. Straight line the braking all the way to the next corner. Don't turn at any point, otherwise you're going to go sliding. Notice there, as I want to turn, I start to release it. Now you've got the arrow signs here. The end of the arrow signs, I've highlighted the last 3 there. There, your accelerating markers. So as they get towards the center of your screen, start to accelerate. You can't see the exit yet, but they're a good marker to tell you you're about halfway through the corner and you really should start accelerating. So that's what I start to do. I'm just being careful on exit. As you can see, a lot of power oversteer arriving in the BMW M6. It just puts its power down, it spins its wheels. The end of the tunnel here literally is your brake markers. You've got the arm code change, the white line, the end of the curb, all brake markers for this left-hander, and you want to keep it nice and tight. Notice how the corner is cambered here, so keep it nice and tight. Accelerate out over towards the right side, use the bumps a little bit here, and then over towards the left here, slight lift, and then continue on. Might have to do a slight lift on this right as well. You have to be careful, a bit of understeer here. And your final brake marker is the 50 board there. That is your final brake marker. Similar to the hairpin, you can go for a V shape, so, head it all the way out to come back in, or you can keep it nice and tight. It's actually a little bit better to keep it tighter on this particular corner versus the hairpin, turn 1. So just keep that in mind as you do this. So as I go around here, I'm looking for the orange painted barrier there, and then I accelerate out of the corner. I really should have stopped it there to point that out, but that is what I'm using as an accelerating marker. We head towards the line, then that's a 125.7. Default setup can get a low 25 here before you start looking at setups, and setups will increase that time or decrease the time even further. There's the incident in Daily Race A then. So you can see they just broke a bit early there. That just caused a crash and everyone was just everywhere. It's just a racing incident in the end, It's all things coming together and it is what it is. Unfortunately, Les gets 4 seconds for hitting me as I was hitting the barrier, and it's just one of those things. This was the end of the race then. So this is where Nico just pushed me onto the grass, which forced my car into a bit of an oversteer moment, and I was trying to recover it at that point. After we discussed it in the race lobby, it's all fair game. He said sorry. We carry on. No worries. I was just asking what was going on, and they said they didn't realise. Happy days. Right, here we go. And the Spanish driver here, I have no idea what's going on, but straighten up running somebody off. I'm so confused by that. I don't get it. It's like we see it in F1 and now we see it everywhere. It's really annoying. I really wish people wouldn't do that. Here's the incident with me and Max Power then. So as we go down the inside, you can see that gap was just ever closing. You see it hit the brakes because I could see what was coming. And yeah, that's just on me. Completely on me, that one. So apologies, Max Power. I did apologise in Discord as well after. Into the right then, we've got Bahamas. Slightly into Hot Naked 8 then as we go into the right-hander. I love that nickname. It is funny. And now getting mugged there. 2-second penalty. Ooh, pretty harsh, I would say. And, I'm not sure if that was a tap or not from behind, but they go into the barrier. You can see they're losing the rear end now, and I take the risk with the ghosting. So here we are with Max Power and Shelty as we head in towards the right-hander. There's a small tap there. The BMW hits them from behind. Shelty into the barrier. I'm going to take advantage of that. Of course I am. But Magic Racing gets 4 seconds of penalties, which arguably is a bit harsh. What happened to the Indian driver then as they come through here? Yep, the understeer into the barrier. Very common error to happen. Be careful of that. Make sure you overturn the car on the right to make sure you don't do that, because that will happen all the time. You see all the damage there as well. It's Sim GT then. This is the final incident we're going to be looking at today. And as we go into here then, you can see this has got it wrong. Really, you should have turned left there potentially, just to avoid max power. But there's another penalty there as well. If you have enjoyed this video, as always, do give it a like and do subscribe to the channel. Stay in touch with all the latest content. That is it for me. 2 videos there to check out. My logo's there if you want to subscribe. And make sure you do check out GT Amiga in the description and use code Tidgney at checkout. If you're interested in the 50k special, tomorrow's video will explain how you can go to it. So make sure you tune in. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in another video live stream again very soon.